Il faut go. Voilà, B. Wow. What's your name?
Yeah, someone behind the fence.
The captain crew, and especially myself, and to welcome you all on board. And it was a perfect afternoon to the particular crew. I see local here in Sydney. Well, it's not. Now we just turned around and there's a circular key behind us. Circular key is the main terminal in Sydney's very jet cache. And the cache is captain of the British colony in Australia on the 26th of January, 1788, just in Sydney Cove behind us. And he chose the cove because it had very deep and protected moorings. Also, there was a freshwater stream called the Tank Stream, which still runs into the water of the harbour today, very close to Pier 6, where we boarded this vessel. Now we get to turn around to our right and head east, first of all, along the southern foreshores of Sydney Harbour, or what's known in Sydney as the eastern suburbs of Sydney, which is the water of the harbour. Now here in Farm Cove, amongst the trees on your right, see the beautiful Government House, that large stone building we're passing. Government House was built in the early 1840s, and from the time that it was built, it was the official residence. So we see a lot of people making their way down from their offices in the central business district of Sydney, the high-rise buildings, and having a lunchtime jog through the gardens and around Farm Cove. Now, this next point we've come up to, called Mrs. Macquarie's Point. It's named after the wife of the fifth governor of New South Wales, Governor Macquarie. And it's named after Elizabeth Macquarie because she used to like to sit out on the point and watch the goings on of the harbour. She was out here so often that her husband commissioned the chair be carved for her over the sandstone on the rock. And if you have a look across to your right, there's a blonde dark jumper, black jumper and a pair of jeans, sitting in Mrs. Macquarie's chair right now. Here on the right, under the Port Jackson big tree. I think I believe the photograph taken. They say that chair is quite lopsided. It's like a lounge. It has very different slope in it. And apparently that's because the convicts who take the chair were paid in runs. Passing Wollongong Bay. Now on our right, there's a large naval base. We're at Wollongong Bay. Point out something interesting to you in the bay. If you look across to the right of your water level, you can see a dark concrete wall with an orange border across the top. Now that dark concrete wall on water level with the orange border is the entrance to a dry dock in Wollongong Bay. The vessels go in to be maintained. So the vessel cruises in and water drains away, so maintenance can take place on that dock. That dry dock was built in 1945 in Ryall Bay. A little rocky, exactly sure. You move across to your left, over in the middle of the harbour, the coming past of Sydney Harbour. It was levelled in 1841 and completed by 1856. Now Port Dennis officially an island anymore, was joined to the mainland by the building of the dry dock that I pointed out to you back in Woolloomooloo Bay in 1945. And Garden Island isn't open to the public either. It's where you find Australia's largest naval base. Naval administration goes on here on Garden Island. There are some lovely memorials to the Navy on the island also. The first one we're coming past is this bow of the HMAS Parramatta, pointing straight towards us. HMAS stands for His or Her Majesty's Australian Ship, and the HMAS Parramatta was the first Australian warship ever built. The next memorial, down on the point, is the steel and stone structure you can see, a memorial to the Corvette warships fought in World War II. There are some lovely historic buildings out here on Garden Island. Most of them are used for naval administration. Some of the senior naval officers are lucky enough to have their housing out here on Garden Island. I'll point out one building to you. Look across to your right, you can see a clock tower, 2 clock faces and a domed roof, and a flagpole just to the right of the palm tree over there on Garden Island. Now that clock tower, when it was built in the 1820s, was the tallest building in Sydney. So if you compare it now to the highlights behind it, you'll see how far the city of Sydney has come and how much it has grown. The tallest building in Sydney now is Sydney Tower, the gold and black tower structure you see up on the skyline. Sydney Tower stands at around 1,000 feet high, which is 304 metres. And there's two observation decks at the top of Sydney Tower and two revolving restaurants. It's a great place to go and stay, once again named after the wife of Governor Macquarie, this next bay we're forcing. And the buildings in the suburb above the bay, to the left of the landmark hotel on the right, is the King's Cross. It's really known as Sydney's Red Light District suburb. Rushcutters Bay is the home to the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia, and the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia are the organisers of the Sydney to Hobart boat race that starts here in Sydney Harbour every Boxing Day on the 26th of December. Hobart is over 630 nautical miles from Sydney. It is the capital of Tasmania, the little island that sits on the southern tip of the Australian continent. So that is the longest ocean-going classic yacht race in Australia. It's Darling Point, on the harbour-side suburb of Darling Point, where you can see these high-rise apartment buildings. And to tell you a little bit of gossip about Darling Point, Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman bought a 3-level apartment out here about 3 months ago. And rumour has it they actually gave it to Nicole Kidman's younger sister as part of a wedding present. She was married in here in Sydney about 2.5 months ago. Can't point it out to you. I don't know which one it is, but I can point out to you Craig End, this lovely white house just there on the foreshore, large green dome on the roof. Now, Craig End was built by a very famous traveller, Sir James Patrick, and it was bought by the US government in 1948, and Craig End was the US consulate here in Sydney right up until the 1980s, for almost 4 decades. And then it was sold for security reasons, and now Craig End is privately owned. Now, the bar is open behind me, here on the harbour, up amongst the trees on the right. It's a large yellow house with a grey gabled roof and green awning. This is the original Fairfax family home. It's a very famous Sydney family, the Fairfax family. They founded the Sydney Morning Herald newspaper in 1831, and that is still today one of Sydney's major newspapers. Here on the right is this lovely stone house with ivy growing all over it and narrow chimneys. This is Carthona. Carthona was built by the 3rd Surveyor General of Sydney, Sir Thomas Mitchell, and he modelled that house on a castle that he held in the Lake Windermere districts in England. Suburb in Sydney for shopping. There aren't any department stores in Double Bay, but a lot of exclusive designer label boutiques and a fabulous cosmopolitan cafe atmosphere in Double Bay. And a large rectangular building you can see in the valley of the bay with the white satin glass park. So, overall ships. Expensive as far as property prices are concerned. This is point hyper. Now, to give you an idea of the value, I see a bright pink house here on the right, and not the pink house, but to the left of the pink house is this fawn-coloured house with dark circular glass panels. It's fawn-coloured house with dark circular glass panels, sold at auction earlier this year for $12 million. Now, on the top story of the house, you find a garage. And in the garage is a revolving floor. So you can drive your car in, press a button, the floor will revolve, but you never have to release your car out of your garage. So that's what you could get for $12 million. Not to mention a view across the harbour of Auckland. But if you're on the right, these grey and glass architecturally designed homes with 2 glass pyramids on a roof. Now, that is the site where Paradis sur Mer was sold in the property boom of the early 1980s for a record $19.2 billion. Now, the developer demolished the original house, built those 2 new houses with the glass pyramids, but they say he's still waiting to get his money back to the original deal. The lovely Lake Martin's Beach, tucked away over there on the right. Lady Martin's Beach is a tidal beach. So when the tide gets high, it's fairly low in the harbour at the moment. When the tide gets high, Lady Martin's Beach almost all but disappears over there on the right. And it's the home to the Prince Edward Yacht Club. So we've been travelling along the southern foreshores of Sydney Harbour, or what's known in Sydney as the eastern suburbs of Sydney. The Wallara Coastal Railway used to the largest of Sydney Harbour 66 bays and much of Rose Bay. Seaplanes from here in Rose Bay, with two sightseeing tours around the harbour, where the city may take off a land from the water of Rose Bay. And a bit of the best view. You also see Sydney's most exclusive golf club. If you look in the lowest part of the valley of Rose Bay, there's a large brown brick building with two flagpoles that hang from the roof. That large brown brick building is the Royal Sydney Golf Club, Australia's most exclusive golf club. It's on a 10-year waiting list to become a member, and that's if they want you. The convent, a convent school today, was founded in 1882 by the Sisters of the Sacred Heart, the French Order of Nuns. And they also own on that lovely foreshore land borders down to the water from Rose Bay Fontans. Not uncommon to see people ferrying their full wedding reception across the water of the harbour to celebrate out of Shark Island. On your left, famous landmark, the New Harbour Bridge, Port Denison, also the Opera House. Now, Sydney Harbour is the largest natural harbour in the world. There's over 250 kilometres of foreshore all around the waterways of Sydney Harbour, but there is only one very narrow ocean entrance. It's 1.5 kilometres across. So that's why the waterways of Sydney Harbour are so calm and protected. The swells of the ocean behind us for quite a while. See a large commercial vessel making its way into the western areas of the harbour, so over there on our left. And as we continue on, a completely separate section of the harbour. We'll be browsing through now. And degaussing is a process of measuring and demagnetizing vessels. Vessels travel around the world and pick up a lot of the Earth's magnetism, ultimately interferes with instruments. And in modern warfare, that's how mines are set off in the water for picking up vessels' magnetisms. Now, newer vessels now have inbuilt demagnetizing systems, but still their magnetism needs to be measured. So there are metal coils under the water this degaussing range we're passing through. So it's all lovely parkland that extends out along the Rose Bay foreshore, right up to the tip of this point we're coming around, Steele's Point. It's around Steele's Point Beach that we need to view on the right. It's more commonly known as Nelson Park, with 30 acres of parkland that extends along the beach. It's a lovely northerly facing harbour beach. And it's popular all year round to get a sunny day like today. Even in these winter months, it's people. They continue to say, "Not in a hospital." I'm sure you can still like outside. Beyond the rocks, Bullcruise Bay, another very famous historic house to be found at Bullcruise. It's simply called the Bullcruise House, and it's open to the public as well as continue to look to your right, up above the houses. You can see the white tip of the Quarry Lighthouse on your right, above the houses. Now, the Quarry Lighthouse was the first lighthouse ever built in Australia in the early 1800s. And the first man to build the Quarry Lighthouse was Robert Watson. Was also the first pilot boat driver. And the pilot boat service still operates in Watson's Bay. Since they were passing the stage after the first lighthouse truck, as well as the first pilot boat driver. That's a pilot boat floating across around Queen's Point. Here on the right, fishing out there this afternoon. Sort of lace marker out here at Queen's Point. That stone marker is a memorial to the very first landing of the First Fleet when it arrived here from England. Now, they did found the British colony back in Circular Quay when we boarded this vessel. But the first night they arrived in Sydney Harbour, they spent out here. So then the fleet were coming up through now on your right. So notice how the naval buildings are built to Lady Jack Beach over here on the right-hand side. We right up now at the end of the Southhead Peninsula, the one and only eastern entrance to Sydney Harbour and Coronavirus. You can see the lovely striped Hornby Lighthouse right on the end of the Southhead Peninsula, the second lighthouse built here in Sydney. Built in 1840, that's 40 years after the Macquarie Lighthouse. Quite a few people on the peninsula this afternoon. These are called school holidays in Sydney at the moment. School holidays for the next 2 weeks. There's a swell sitting a little rocky around it. I'm going to hold on myself. I've been caught out before. I subject you to my swan dive across the deck this afternoon. So we're looking out at the one and only ocean entrance to Sydney Harbour, close to the Pacific Ocean and the Tasman Sea on our right. And you can see how narrow this ocean entrance is compared to all the foreshore that we've been travelling along Sydney Harbour. Just extends in the North Peninsula, that borders this one and only ocean entrance to Sydney Harbour. Now the Northern Peninsula, it's about 3/4 or 75% public parkland, but still a quarter of the Northern Peninsula is owned by the Middle Beach and an ocean beach. And they're divided in a very narrow, so of course, divides the two beaches of Manly, so you've got 1.5 kilometres. Now there's shops and restaurants along the Manly Corso that divides the two beaches. Off the Dog Road over here, sailing vessels cruising in front of two boys in the water as they head on to Vancouver. Now those two boys mark up on board. It's a very turbulent area of water over there in Vancouver. It behaves like a reef, but it's not actually a reef of water. There are rocks underneath the water, but it's caused by the tide moving in and out of harbour, little harbour, and the swell coming in through the ocean entrance to the harbour. This is a very turbulent area of water just off the Dobroyd headland. It's marked by those two black buoys. It's called Wombora, particularly dangerous.
wherever you 5 minutes. Well,
Been enjoying the good weather.